Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside James Work Gymnasium for this evening's Middle Atlantic Freedom Conference matchup between the Delaware Valley University Aggies and the Wilkes University Colonels. Gordon Mann and the crew here bringing you the action on a Friday night as Delaware Valley will look to build a win streak for the first time in a long time as the Aggies come in off of last night's victory over Wilkes, 77-63. The Aggies now 2-4 on the season. The last time Delaware Valley won back-to-back games, well, it didn't happen at all last year in the 1920 season. You got to go all the way back to February of 2019 when the Aggies had wins over Eastern and Kings in conference. And again, last year Delaware Valley finished 8th in the conference. Wilkes finished 7th, or 6th, excuse me, tied for 6th in the conference. So neither of these teams made the conference playoffs last year. And hard to tell in a season like this how representative these teams are of what they'll look like next year either. But for this abbreviated season, Aggies looking to put some wins together, and the Aggies have a chance with a second game here with Wilkes and then 2 games with FDU Florham to potentially finish at or around 500 before the conference postseason, put that in quotation marks, begins. And we'll explain a little bit about what that one looks like, what the postseason format looks like in a second. For the Aggies' opponents tonight for Wilkes University, when the Colonels shoot well from outside, they do well. When they don't, they don't. So the Colonels have a record of 3-4 in all of the games that they've won but one. They've hit at least 10 three-pointers. Anytime the Colonels have failed to hit at least 10 three-pointers, they have not won. And that includes last night when Wilkes hit 7 threes. So the Colonels kind of live and die by the three-point, from behind the three-point line. And hope that tonight they will find their more of their shots on the mark here than they did at the Mart Center last night against the Aggies. It's been a weird season all the way around, and just thankful to have basketball, but particularly for Wilkes, if you think about Wilkes University basketball, what a season generally looks like, you're going to play a full conference slate. You're going to play your regional rivals, Misericordia, maybe Scranton, and definitely Kings at least twice. You'll come down the I-476 corridor and play Del Val. You'll play DeSales. You'll hopefully build towards a conference tournament. And none of that is pretty much the case even in this abbreviated season for Wilkes, as Misericordia and Kings have opted out of basketball, so there's no matchup with their most natural rivals. They played their first 2 games against DeSales. Like everyone else has been on both sides of the Freedom Conference, men and women, they were dominated in those 2 games. Came back and played Arcadia, who wasn't even in the conference last season. They played them twice, split that series. Then had their next series against FDU Florham, who would be a conference rival, postponed because of COVID. They ended up playing Stevens on the fly, who is in the conference but not participating in conference basketball, if that makes any sense. They're just playing a handful of games. Then Wilkes will play Del Val, and then it's sort of over. Although, again, fitting of this season, over with a caveat, as Wilkes will play one more game after tonight, out of conference against Alvernia, who started their season 4 weeks later than everybody else. And then Wilkes and Delaware Valley will both theoretically, again, everything is tentative here in this era, will theoretically participate in some form of postseason. Now, what we're told the Freedom Conference will do is have the top 2 teams, who right now are DeSales and Lycoming, they're both undefeated, play each other for the conference championship. That would be the week of the 21st to the 25th. And then everybody else in the conference, 3 through whoever's left playing at that point, would play their counterparts on the Commonwealth side. So right now Delaware Valley is 4th in the conference. They would play the 4th place team in the conference on the other side. And in the Commonwealth side, those teams are packed really tightly together, as they almost always are. So, I mean, it could be almost 5 different teams for Del Val, or for Wilkes. Wilkes is 1-4. They need the, again, seedings don't matter a whole lot other than the top 2. And Wilkes doesn't have a chance to catch Arcadia, who's 3-4 and split the series with the Colonels earlier this year. But that's the way the conference will do things. They will have, again, 1 versus 2 in the Freedom, 1 versus 2 in the Commonwealth, and then 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4 as you go down the list. And as far as who's home and who's away, I imagine these are all one-game affairs and not doubleheaders, but not even sure of that. And of course, again, everything is very subject to change. So that's the format for conference play for the rest of the way. For the Aggies, it's a chance for some players to continue to build some positive momentum for next year. As we've mentioned in all of our broadcasts, there's a good chance next year's team doesn't look much like this team, because 3 of the Aggies' top players, last season's top scorer, Damian Washington, and top rebounder, also Washington, who's undeniably the best player on the Aggies team. He didn't play this season. He opted out. Devin Hill and Jordan Tucker, they've opted out. There are a bunch of seniors on this team. We hope they come back. You could have, as we've joked with Chris Elliott, the sports information director here, senior night may take about an hour and a half to get through all the people who are potentially seniors. But the ones who are on the floor tonight, those are the ones we'll focus on. Matt Paulus, who's continued to play well. Again, the transfer from Ursinus. I guess he's been gone for Ursinus for 2 years. You can stop calling him that. Missed all of last season with injury, and Paulus has really been the weather vane here for Delaware Valley. When Paulus handles the ball and stays away from turnovers and shoots it well, the Aggies compete and win. And when those things don't happen, well, Delaware Valley struggles, as they have on offense occasionally this season. Aggies got a real good game last night out of Dariel Medina, Dariel was 4 for 5 from behind the arc, a career-high 20 points, and one of those guys who was essentially a role player last year that, because of the shrunken roster, is getting a lot of minutes this year. And that's kind of the MO for the team as a whole. The top players for Delaware Valley this year: Paulus, Ibadapo, Nestor Diaz, Ryan Black. These guys were either not on the team or not playing significant minutes, really, with the exception of Ibadapo last year. So it's a new-look Aggies team, and I'm not entirely sure, no one can be, how much of that will carry over to the 2021-22 season. But for the Aggies, they have a chance here with the way the schedule falls to compete and win their last 4 games. They won last night. They'll have a shot here tonight against Wilkes. And, hard to gauge Florham, because Florham's had a lot of COVID-19 problems and has missed a lot of games. And they have an even weirder schedule than Wilkes does. But FDU Florham hasn't won a game this year, so you would assume Delaware Valley will be competitive in that one. The other note to get for you in the pregame is the Aggies are again coached by Mark Seidenberg, who missed last week's 2 games against Albright out of precautions because of COVID-19. He did not have the virus, but they kept him away from the team for 2 games just in case. Austin Stokel went 1-1 in his very brief head coaching debut, winning here at home against the Lions and then losing on the road to Albright. As Seidenberg back in the saddle tonight, and we'll see if this Aggies team, which again is short-handed, you look at the rosters here. Wilkes has 16 players on the roster coming into tonight. Delaware Valley has 11, and really 9 of which have a chance of playing. 2 we haven't seen. Ryan Schnabel's played 1 minute all year, and Francis Robles hasn't played much either. So the Aggies don't have a lot of size. You'll notice that as well. But they've been very competitive in their games. Again, if they take care of the ball and they shoot it well from outside, they've been gritty. They've showed a lot of heart, and hope to get another victory here tonight for the players who've come out for the team this season. We'll keep an eye on the other Middle Atlantic Conference scores for you this evening. In the Freedom Conference, Eastern is hosting undefeated DeSales. Lycoming's unbeaten. They'll host Arcadia later tonight. FDU Florham is now healthy enough to play, but can't find an opponent because FDU Florham was matched up with Misericordia this week, and Misericordia men opted out of the season. So after waiting 2 weeks and canceling 4 games, Florham will wait another week before the Devils can take the floor. Same matchups on the women's side. The best matchup in the conference overall, Widener and Messiah. Messiah number 13 in the country. Widener's only loss coming to the Falcons last night. Aggies and Colonels here in men's action. Aggies women on the road looking to build off of their first win in almost 2 years. Aggies won here last night. They're up in Wilkes playing the Colonels at the March Center tonight. For the Colonels, with the lack of crowd, very quick announcements of the starting lineups. Junior guard, 6'3", from Hershey, Pennsylvania, Sean Collar gets the start. Joined in the backcourt by the senior from Hughesville, Pennsylvania, Landon Henry. Playing the wing, the junior from Gainesville, Virginia, Drake Marshall. Your front court is the freshman Trent Fisher from Sellersville, Pennsylvania, and the senior from Lansdale, Derek Heiserman. Colonels are coached by Izzy Metz, a graduate of Hobart College. Metz in his 7th season with the Colonels. Also spent 5 seasons as the head coach of his alma mater up in Hobart. And for the Aggies, starting lineup, again, guys don't come out to high fives or anything like that, but your senior guard, point guard from Solebury, Pennsylvania, number 0, Matt Paulus. The listed as a freshman on here, but that's not accurate. The junior from Spring City, Pennsylvania, Nestor Diaz. Senior forward in the front court, you'll have Ryan Black, who's a swing man, but by necessity will play power forward tonight. Your center, the forward from Sicklerville, New Jersey, Thomas Ibadapo. And the wing, the senior guard from Darby, Pennsylvania, Pernell Gee. Aggies only have one true forward on the roster. I mean, a guy who you're going to play back to the basket and ask to get you rebounds and shot blocks, and that's Thomas Ibadapo. If Ibadapo gets in foul trouble or needs a break, it's been the freshman Jordan Gomes who's gotten a call, and Jordan is listed as a forward, but he's just over 6 foot tall. Colonels, as was the case last night, with much more height. And see if the Aggies can play over the top of that height here on the men's side just like they did last night. Aggies in white. Paulus for Nestor Diaz. Diaz for Paulus. Did a good job last night taking care of the ball. The Aggies have done a good job avoiding turnovers so far this season. Diaz for Gee. Gee drives baseline, passes for Ibadapo. Ibadapo's pass deflected and stolen. Colonels down the floor. Tic-tac-toe, pass off the backboard and good for Trent Fisher. Fisher for Gee, and the Aggies break the press. Ibadapo was open down across the court. They go to Gee instead, down low for Ibadapo. Shot no good, gets his own rebound. And Thomas Ibadapo with the follow. 2 points apiece, 1 minute gone. Wilkes went scoreless for a 7-minute stretch last night that really effectively ended the game. The Aggies got a huge lead over that period when Wilkes just went dead quiet. That ball kicks off the foot. Pernell Gee has it, flips to Paulus. Paulus to Diaz. Diaz off glass for 2. And the Aggies with a disjointed-looking fast break. To the delight of Mark Seidenberg, have a 4-2 lead. Mark turning shades of red over there. He's fired up. Colonels with the ball. Drive into the post. Trent Fisher shot no good. But an offensive rebound laid up and in. Actually, that's Fisher with the follow. Heiserman had the initial shot. Diaz breaks the press. Ryan Black all alone in stride. 3 on the way. No good. And the Colonels, Heiserman with the rebound. This is Landon Henry. Collar, and now a 3 on the way, up and good for Trent Fisher. Now Fisher's got 7 points in 2 minutes, and the Colonels with a 7-4 lead. Pernell for Ryan Black, for Diaz. Pernell drives, baseline, tough angle, that's an air ball, and Ibadapo fighting for the rebound, but able to come up with it. Henry down the floor. Reverse layup. Doesn't get out of the hands of Drake Marshall because he's fouled, and Marshall will go to the free throw line. On the season, the Colonels averaging 69 points per game. 11 points below their opponents, although two very lopsided losses to DeSales in a shortened season skew those numbers a lot. 73% free throw shooting team overall. They shoot threes at 43%. That's impressive. What's not is their opponents shoot it at 48%, which is looks like a mathematical error since we're talking about three-pointers. Paulus down the floor, fumbles it, but right to Nestor Diaz. Marshall split his free throws. Colonels lead 8-4. Paulus, guarded by Marshall. 12 on the shot clock. Diaz, over for Purnell. Purnell thinks about the three and will take it and hits it. Purnell Gee for three. Not a great shooting season for Purnell so far. He's only 21% from three. As Fisher drives in, and what a nifty move. Trent Fisher, looking like Tim Duncan here early on. He's got 9 points already. Fisher leads the team in rebounding, and a traveling violation on Del Val. (10-7) Wilkes early on. Colonels 4 for 5 from the floor, and Fisher 4 for 4 with 9 points. And Ryan Black is dinged up, and he's going to have to head to the bench and get patched up. Dario Medina, who was the star of the game last night with 20 points, a career high, hit 4 three-pointers in 5 attempts. He checks into the game. Some players wearing masks, most not. Shot off the mark and a foul as Landon Henry gets whacked by Matt Paulus. Second foul of the game on the Aggies, first on Paulus. And Landon Henry heads to the free throw line. Landon is... Check and make sure this is accurate. Yeah, he's the only player on the team that started all 8 of the games. A math major from Hughesville. And subs checking in here for the Wilkes Colonels. First sub of the night, first action for the junior from Manassas, Virginia, number 21, Donovan Breeding, who checks in. Paulus just barely gets it into Medina. Now back to Paulus. Matt across the timeline. 16:24 to play here in the first half. Delaware Valley trails 11-7. Diaz for Paulus. Ibadapo working on the smaller Breeding. Paulus for three. No good. But Purnell with the rebound. Paulus in stride will try from a different spot. No. But Medina gets the offensive rebound there. Diaz thinks about a three. Drives in. Layup off glass. No. Ibadapo. Hook shot. No. And the Aggies 4 shots in that possession. So good rebounds, but that's brutal on the shooting percentage. Breeding. Gives it up, gets it back. Near side three for Breeding. Well short. And Dario Medina swoops in for the rebound. Early on here, Aggies 3 of 10 from the floor. Of course, 4 misses all in that one possession. Ariel for Nestor Diaz. Paulus and now Purnell. Ibadapo. Face up, tough shot. Can't get it to fall. Thomas falls down, looking for the foul, and now it's 5-on-4 the other way. Henry in stride three. That's off the mark. And Paulus with the rebound. 11-7 Colonels. Five minutes gone here in the first half. Purnell faces up on Fisher. And Fisher draws the foul. That is Trent's first. Wilkes making a substitution, checking in for the first time from Reading, Pennsylvania, out of Exeter Township. The freshman guard, Matthew Davidheiser. Davidheiser hit a bunch of threes near the end of the game last night. Colonels also bring in the lanky freshman guard from Milford, Pennsylvania, Jackson Schaefer. And now Ryan Black, who's got his knee patched up, returns, and Thomas Ibadapo will get a break. So I'll reset it for you. Paulus, Diaz, Guy, that's Purnell right there, who misses. Medina and Black for Del Val. Davidheiser, Schaefer, Breeding, Henry, and Marshall for Wilkes. This is Matthew Davidheiser right here. It's Breeding in the face with that pass. Ouch. 3 on the way. Front rim no good, or side rim no good for Jack Bova, who checked in. He replaced Landon Henry. And so the Colonels with none of their starters out there right now. Medina for Diaz for Purnell. And Purnell kicks out. Medina fakes. Pull-up jumper good for Dario. Dario Medina for 2. Aggies trail by 2. Davidheiser for Breeding. Marshall, nice dish, Breeding. Blocked from behind by Purnell, who's got a great ability to recover if a guy beats him down the floor. 13:34 to play. 20 on the shot clock as Dario Medina looks at Guy and gives it to Ryan Black instead. Black for Paulus, off the screen. No good, open look. Well designed. Paulus just unable to find the range here so far. 0 for 3 from 3. Breeding as Purnell Guy takes that one away. Paulus. Wilkes started 4 for 4. They're now 4 for 9. Aggies still trail by 2. Dario Medina tells Black to stay in the corner. Diaz off the screen. That left Purnell wide open. Purnell goes in, no good, but he's fouled. And good sportsmanship from Jackson Schaefer, who hoists him off the floor. So Purnell heads to the free throw line for Del Val. Aggies on the season, 68 points per game. That's pretty close to their opponent. Out-rebounded by 3 per contest. Shooting 41% from 3 as Guy misses the first free throw. That is a vast improvement over the last couple of years. Actually, excuse me, that's 35% from 3. Still a vast improvement. But one place they continue to struggle is right here. They're under 70%. And Guy not close on either free throw. And he's a pretty good free throw shooter, 77%. So the Aggies come away empty, and they're still down 2. Colonels bring Heiserman back in. Nice floating jumper from Drake Marshall. And Colonels bring a couple of starters back out, including Marshall, who's got 3 points. 4-point deficit for Del Val. Marshall breaks the long scoring drought there. Black has his dribble. Medina. Over for Diaz, who fakes a 3. Drives in. Nestor Diaz, no good, but he's fouled. One thing about Nestor, he has the ability to shoot layups from all kinds of weird angles. That one he attempted, I think his left hand coming from the wrong side of the rim and still almost scored. And the Aggies' free throw woes continue. Nestor is a 56% free throw shooter. 3rd foul on the Colonels. Second one coming. And he hits it. So Nestor splits his free throws. Del Val down 3 as Davidheiser brings it up the floor. All the way to the paint, wild shot, no good. Guy with the rebound. Medina running ahead of the pack, as is Paulus. Paulus off the fast break, layup up and good. Nicely done between Diaz and Paulus. First points of the night for the senior guard from Soulbury. And the Aggies down 2. Or 1, excuse me, 13-12. Purnell Guy, oh, nice play. Almost threw it off the knee of the Colonels there. David Heiserman, or Derek Heiserman. Drake Marshall heads to the bench. And first look of the game at the freshman guard from Walnutport, Pennsylvania. Down in the Lehigh Valley, this is Zachary Gula from Northampton. Drive in, wide open shot for Sean Collar. No good, but the follow there for the Colonels. A delay of game warning for Wilkes, so no technical foul the first time. Sean Collar with the basket, his first 2 points of the night. Wilkes shooting 6 of 13 from the floor. And kicks off the foot of Jackson Schaefer. Aggies 1 for their last 5. Colonels 1 for their last 4. And a nice job by the Colonels to tie it up and get the ball back. Nice play by Zachary Gula to give the Colonels an extra possession. Inbounds to Gula, who fumbles it. Colonels will set with 16 on the shot clock. Thundering dribble there, awkward shot, but it falls home for David Heiserman. And the Colonels get 4 points in 2 possessions without the Aggies even getting it across half court. Black for Diaz. Diaz spins in a lane, open look for Medina. Medina for 3, that's short. And no white shirts around the rim. Easy rebound for the Colonels. Ryan Black getting pushed around by Heiserman down low. Heiserman calls for the ball. That's him right there. Outside, Schaefer for 3. Nothing but net, but didn't go through. Spinning for Gula. Gula outside for Collar. Schaefer. Pass blocked by Gee, and Paulus with the rebound, or the catch off the block, I should say. And the Aggies will call timeout here. Delaware Valley trailing by 5. 1 for 6 from the behind the arc, 5 for 16 from the floor, and just 1 of 4 from the foul line in the first 9.5 minutes for Del Val. Keep an eye on the other game, the women's game for you. End of 1 quarter in Edwardsville or Wilkes-Barre. Delaware Valley with a 9-8 lead there. Emily Kutzkel has 9 points in 10 minutes. so Kutzkel with all of the Aggies' points in the game so far. And she's beating Wilkes 9-8. No blocks yet for Emily, but she's got 2 steals. Emily Kutzkel, she's got 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in 1 quarter. It's a heck of a quarter. I smell a player of the week. Right here, Delaware Valley down 5. Ryan Black for Medina. Gee off the post pass. Dariel outside. Paulus for 3. Yes. Matt Paulus with the triple. And the Aggies chop the lead to 2. 5 points for Paulus. First made 3 of the game for Matt, who shoots 32% on the season from there. Oh, wide open for Trent Fisher, and he misses it. And this is the problem, as Gee actually blocks the second shot. The Aggies basically have a shooting guard on a center there, because the only other player who could play down low for them is Ibadapo, who's on the bench at the moment. Medina. Paulus with the ball outside. Ryan Black drives. Colonel's going with two centers now. Gee drives through. Oh, I don't know. Did not have to make that shot as hard as it was. David Heiser drives in, and that was an interesting looking shot, and David Heiser is hurt. David Heiser hits the wall hard. Slowly coming down the floor, open look for Matt Paulus, and Paulus drills it. Aggies with their first lead of the game, and David Heiser is going to have to come out of the game. Hit the wall very, very hard off the awkward shot attempt, and hopefully he is all right. Colonels bring Landon Henry back out. As the Aggies trainer who does double duty for both teams here heads over to see if Matthew's okay. 18-17, Aggies in front by one off of back-to-back Matt Paulus three-pointers. Collar into the post for Trent Fisher. Now Fisher's matched up with the much smaller Nestor Diaz. Diaz swiping at the ball madly because he knows once Fisher gets it above his head, it's pretty much over. Edward Jones with his first action of the game, and ends up almost being a turnover off of Edward. Jones is senior from Long Branch, New Jersey. And we've now seen pretty much everybody who's going to play tonight, for the most part. As Ryan Schnabel gets some minutes. Francis Robles is in street clothes again, so he won't play. And Jordan Gomes, we might see some action from him. Medina for Paulus. Colonels by one. Ryan Black faces up. Edward Jones. There's a mismatch on speed there. Black down low. Right idea, half a second too slow. Henry drives, pass into the post. Ryan Black swats it away out of bounds. Wilkes basketball. 19-18. Well, we said coming in when Wilkes hits threes they win, but you wouldn't know it from the way they're playing. They're playing with this kind of two-tower approach and trying to score as much as they can from down low. Colonels will make a substitution. Drake Marshall, I think that is, checking back in. Yeah, it's Marshall who replaces Zachary Gula. 8:05 to play in the first half. Low-scoring affair. Aggies by one, 19-18. Or, excuse me, Colonels by one. Drive in, Henry working around, open look, Collar for three. No. And ball batted around and eventually controlled by Black. 4 on 3, not really a break, and so the Aggies will pull it back out. Paulus, tough shot, no good. And a rebound controlled by the Colonels. Collar down the floor. And Ryan Black just basically tackles him as David Heiser. Excuse me, Heiserman. The other very German surname. And Heiserman will go to the free throw line for... No, he won't. I was going to say, he was not shooting. That's what he was going to do, but he was not in the act of shooting. And that's just the third foul on Del Val, so neither team is close to the bonus at this point. Collar. As Edward Jones called for the hold on Landon Henry. So that will ratchet up the fouls by one. Heiserman with the inbounds catch over for Trent Fisher. Heiserman outside, open three, no good. Rebound Drake Marshall. Marshall hits his own teammate, and, well, the guy who saved the ball stepped on the sideline, but it didn't matter anyway. 19-18. Paulus is... Gives it over. Ryan Black for three. Nope. And the rebound controlled by Collar. Black so far, actually that's his first shot attempt. 0 for 1. Marshall, Heiserman, all knocked away out of bounds. Again, the Aggies doing a good job to contest everything below the chest with Fisher and Heiserman who have the size advantage. Nestor Diaz to the bench for a break. Matt Paulus follows him. First time those two guys sit down. Ibadapo and Pernell Gee back on the floor. And Trent Fisher continues to shine here. 11 points for the freshman. Colonels lead by 3. Actually, it's 13 now for Fisher. Black will try the 3. No. Rebound controlled by Wilkes. Aggies just firing up threes every possession now. 3 for 10 from behind the arc. Collar outside. 3 attempt up and rattles out. Ball knocked around. Ryan Black with his 5th rebound. Dario Medina will run the point now. Ibadapo calls for it, has it. Open look, Edward Jones got it. Nicely done by Thomas Ibadapo. Find a cutting Edward Jones. And the Aggies down by 1. And the Colonels will call timeout. Next week, Delaware Valley, again, everything tentative, but scheduled to play a home-and-home series with the Fairleigh Dickinson University Devils, FDU Florham. Expected to come to town, men first, and then on Thursday, and then women on Friday. And then that's the last scheduled game for Del Val, but who knows? 21-20 here, Wilkes up by 1. Aggies shooting 35%. 3 of 10 from behind the arc. Colonels 38%. The Colonels are 1 for 9 from behind the three-point line. Very emotional Mark Seidenberg on the sideline there. Mark in his 5th season as the head coach at Del Val, a record of 40-65. Got his 40th win last night. Spent 4 years at Messiah, 2 years at Penn State Harrisburg, and 1 year at Dickinson. I guess that would be under Alan Soretti as the head coach there. Was the conference coach of the year as a rookie. And the Aggies finish as the 1 seed, and there's an offensive foul on Drake Marshall. Diaz back in the game. It's Diaz, Jones, Medina, Pernell, and Ibadapo, the 5 on the floor. Pernell with the ball here. Medina shows 3. And not a good decision there. Colonels down the floor. Breeding back in the game. Marshall just goes plowing in as Diaz with the rebound. Or the takeaway, I guess. There was no shot attempt. Ibadapo, boy, he's got his arm pinned behind his back. Aggies play pinball, tough shot there. Jones tries to follow, dives to the ball. Lots and lots of contact in this game. Collar thinks about a 3, gives it off for Henry instead. Under 5 minutes to play, Colonels lead 21-20. They've led by as many as 6, and an offensive foul called on Marshall again. I think they're getting Breeding for the foul. Donovan Breeding, I think. Marshall didn't appear to do anything wrong. And it is the first personal foul on Donovan. Gula returns. Drake Marshall to the bench. So the Colonels with Henry, Collar, Breeding, Gula, and the freshman wonderkind Trent Fisher, who has 13 points. Ibadapo. He shows 3. Nice Nice pass for Ibadapo, left it short. And last touch by the Colonels. The Aggies luck out there. Fresh shot clock for Del Val, 20 seconds. As Paulus gets it inbound to Jones. Del Val still down one. They've been down one. We've been stuck at 21-20 for a while. Diaz for Purnell. 4 on the shot clock. Purnell loads up, fires the 3 and hits it. Purnell Gee for 3, his second. Aggies are back up by 2. 4-3 of the game for Del Val. 2 from Paulus and 2 from Purnell. Drive in. Layup is up and good for Zachary Gula. Nice take by the freshman. Tied at 23. Nestor Diaz zigzags through the defense. Paulus. It's returned to the lineup. Ibadapo calls for the ball in a... I'm not sure if there was a kick or if the official was just swinging his leg there, but yeah, they're going to get Fisher for the kick. First foul on the freshmen, 6th foul on the Colonels. Jones to the bench. Dario Medina back out. 2 fouls on Drake Marshall and 2 on Trent Fisher. I was wrong, he's more than one. Is Ibadapo with a nice move. Thomas Ibadapo for 2. Aggies by 2. 4 points for Thomas. Gula for Breeding. Back for Gula. No. Paulus rips it out of his hands. Three minutes on the clock. Delaware Valley by 2. And a foul on Delaware Valley, I think. Purnell will pick it up. Colonels were about to bring a whole fresh wave in. First foul on Purnell, and now we'll get that fresh wave of Colonels. Fisher and Gula to the bench, among others. They've got like 6 guys on the floor at the moment. All right, so we'll reset it for you. Jackson Schaefer, Landon Henry, Sean Collar. Number 15, that's Jack Bova. And a new name for you, the freshman from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Jason Eberhardt. That's Jason right there. Tough shot from Collar, no. Rebound controlled by Nestor Diaz. Colonels have like 2 points in the last 8 minutes. The only problem is Del Val's only got 4 themselves, or 5. So they're only up 2. Medina to Jordan Gomes, who hesitates, shot and missed. And boy, Jordan has looked very gun-shy about shooting. He should have just put that right up. Eberhardt trying to post up the smaller Gomes. 2 minutes on the clock. Eberhardt, high dribble into the chest of Gomes. And the shot no good. Good defense from Jordan there. Colonels shooting 10 for 28. Everybody not named Trent Fisher is shooting 4 for 24. Or 4 for 20, excuse me. Fisher is not out there at the moment. Key pivots on Collar. Tough shot, no. Tries to follow, no. Jackson Schaefer with the rebound. Gomes takes a gamble on a steal. Collar for 3, blocked by Gee. That's his 5th block of the game. Medina, ball fumbled around. Nestor Diaz eventually controls. 25-23, Delaware Valley brings the ball down the floor. Colonels in another long scoreless funk here, just like last night. And a foul on Sean Collar. That is the 7th team foul, so Gee will get free throws here, I believe. That is Sean's first. Fisher and Marshall with 2 apiece. For Del Val, And they only have 4 fouls total, and nobody has more than 1. So Diaz out, Ibadapo in. And Purnell at the free throw line where he's 0 for 2, but a good free throw shooter in general. And he hits that. Matthew Davidheiser, who took the hard tumble, checks back in. He's okay. He replaces Collar. Edward Jones in. I think Ibadapo was he out there for just to check in and then to check back out? Purnell hits them both. 8 points now for Purnell, tied with the team lead with Matt. And the Aggies push their lead to the largest it's been in the game, a modest 4-point advantage, with a minute to play. Aggies look at a trap on Henry. Seidenberg wants the team to try and trap Henry, and it ends up being a good decision as they roll last touch by Edward Jones. Jack Bova to inbound, upstate New York native, Camillus, New York. Henry calls for the screen and gets it from Eberhardt. Henry looking for something. Eberhardt into the paint. Passes to Davidheiser, who fumbles it. Ibadapo grabs it, and a timeout called. Well, guess they don't need the timeout because there's a 20-second shot clock violation. Just a question here whether Del Val's going to have the ball. Just a question whether it's how they're going to get it. Yeah, we'll get it that way. And the Colonels went on a 8-minute scoreless drought last night, and Del Val buried them with a series of threes. The second half of that hasn't happened, but they've once again gone scoreless for a while. 21 seconds on the clock. Shot clock is off. Aggies lead by 4. As Paulus will isolate and run down some more time. Paulus penetrates. Ibadapo, no. No, good look. Can't get any closer than that. Davidheiser down the floor. And shot is, I guess, blocked. As Davidheiser's shot didn't get more than a foot out of his hand. Well, Aggies did everything but make the basket there on that last possession. They go into the half with a 4-point lead. Your score at the break, Delaware Valley 27, Wilkes University 23. We'll take a break, come back in about 10 minutes with your scoreboard from around the Middle Atlantic Conference and your first half stats. Yeah. As you welcome back in, let's get you your look at the Middle Atlantic Conference scoreboard for you. First, start on the women's side, where the Aggies have the lead at Wilkes by almost the same score as this game. Here it's 27-23 Del Val. Up in Edwardsville, it's 28-23 Del Val. It's Emily Kutzkel, who was close to a triple-double last night, has picked right up where she left off. Emily has got 19 points on 7 for 9 shooting, 5 of 6 from the foul line, 6 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, no blocks. For Emily, with a chance to become the all-time leader in that category, depending on how long she plays. And that's really it. The rest of the Aggies combined have 9 points. Emily's got 19 of them on her own, as the third quarter has just started up at the Martz Center. On the men's side of things, all the Middle Atlantic Conference games at the half. Well, Lycoming shot 47% in the first half, and they're down 17 because Eastern shot 69% from 3. I'm sorry, Arcadia did. So Arcadia has a 50-33 lead at the half. Lycoming, albeit with a even more abbreviated schedule than most teams because they've had a handful of games wiped out by COVID, Lycoming is undefeated 3-0. They were supposed to play here in the second week of the season, and then those games got canceled. DeSales continues to do what DeSales does, which is beat everybody by large margins. Their men are up 43-31 at the half. The women's game with Eastern was wiped out by COVID. Both games this week for the Bulldogs were removed from the schedule. Stevenson and Albright on the Commonwealth side. We had a score there, although it's slipped off for us. Lebanon Valley playing Alvernia, Widener, and Messiah on the women's side, or on the men's side as well. Right here, the Aggies with a 27-23 lead. A first half of which Delaware Valley shot 32% from the floor. But the Colonels were statistically better than that, 34%, but Wilkes had about 1 field goal in the last 8 minutes or so. Aggies, and here's the other difference, the Aggies 4 of 11 from behind the arc. The Colonels were 1 for 10. Remember what we said in the pregame, that when Wilkes hits more than 10 threes, they win. They're going to need a big second half. They're not out of the games by any stretch, but they're going to need a big second half to get to 10 threes, as they're just 1 for 10 at the break here. Neither team took a lot of free throws, and both teams split them. Aggies 3 of 6 and Wilkes 2 of 4. Colonels with a 1 rebound advantage there. Assist to turnover ratio, Wilkes a -3, 4 up, 7 down. And Delaware Valley a +1, 6 up to 5 down. Balanced scoring for the Aggies in the first half. Pernell Gee and Matt Paulus with 8 points apiece. Matt 3 of 7, 2 of 5 from behind the arc. Adds 2 rebounds, assists, and a steal in 18 minutes. Pernell, very similar box score. 2 of 2 from behind the arc, 2 of 7 from the floor. 3 rebounds and assists. The one advantage that Pernell has on everybody else, he's blocked 5 shots already. Other scores for Del Val: 4 points for Thomas Ibadapo, 3 for Nestor Diaz, and 2 apiece for Jones and Dario Medina. Well, the Aggies have balanced scoring. The Colonels do not. 13 points for one guy, freshman Trent Fisher, 6 of 8 from the floor. Hit his only 3-pointer, 3 rebounds, and a steal. Biggest problem for Trent in that first half, he got into foul trouble, and so he had to sit for a little while. Everybody else for Wilkes has essentially made 1 shot apiece. Marshall's got 3 points. Collar, Heiserman, and Gula have 2 points, and a single point on a free throw from Landon Henry. Aggies again looking for their first 2-game win streak since February of 2019. Aggies last year, 6 and 18. They got off to an okay start. They splitting wins and losses, but got into conference, beat Eastern essentially on a buzzer beater by Damian Washington. And then they didn't win another conference game for about a month and a half until the final one of the season when Damian Washington hit his 1,000th point. And the Aggies beat Misericordia very late in the year. Aggies went 2-12 and finished in the basement of the conference. Wilkes had a similarly good start to their conference season. They beat Stevens, who ended up winning the conference and only losing 2 games. They beat Stevens in the conference opener, and then again, they didn't win a game for about a month and a half. Wilkes did sweep Del Val last year and finished tied with Misericordia for 6th in the conference. Black, Gee, Paulus, 3. Also, Diaz and Ibadapo are on the floor. As Purnell comes down the floor, hopefully he's okay. That was an awkward fall. Third 3 for Paulus. Aggies with a 7-point advantage. Fisher, Collar, Heiserman. That 3 is off the mark for Henry. And there's one other guy out there. It's Drake Marshall. Foul on the floor on Thomas Ibadapo. Colonel's now 1 for 11 from behind the arc. Collar. Fisher. Heiserman. Blocked by Ibadapo. Guys tangled up going for the ball. Diaz comes away with it. It's been very physical, but there's only been 12 fouls called total on both teams. Ibadapo for Paulus. Over Purnell, and now Ibadapo. Mister calls for the ball. I think that hit Heiserman in the head. And Ibadapo, and Heiserman blocks the shot out of bounds. Heiserman fired up. Senior from Lansdale. Like the emotion. 30-23, Aggies on top. Colonels with the ball. Heiserman comes out for 3. I don't think he's going to shoot from out there. Marshall collapsing to the floor. Fouled by Ryan Black, I believe. Yeah. Foul is on Ryan. That's his second. First Aggie with 2 fouls. And Trent Fisher. Yeah. Rolls over the rim. And that ends another scoreless drought for the Colonels and pulls them within 5. Fisher now with 15. Guarded by Purnell Gee. And Purnell off the mark. Collar with the rebound. Eyes down the floor. Fisher calling for it. Guarded by the smaller Purnell Gee. Colonels fire up a 3. Marshall got it. Second 3 of the game for the Colonels in 13 tries, I think. Nope, 12. And the first one since Trent Fisher, the center, hit one. And Matt Paulus pestered into a timeout by the Colonels, who trail by 2. Check the women's game for you. That is now tied at 29, 5:18 to play. Again, these 2 games, just like last night, tracking each other in scores almost exactly. Last night's games finished very close to each other, too. A pair of Aggies wins by very similar scores. Let's see if Marshall's 3 helps the Colonels. Again, I know they're shooting 2 for 12. They're a good 3-point shooting team, so if you believe in the law of averages, this will be a good half for them. Ryan Black gets it inbounds to Ibadapo. And Purnell brings it across the timeline. And Purnell with a bad pass there. 3-on-3 break. Very high dribble for Marshall. And Marshall just sticks his head down and plows into 3 different guys. Good no call from the ref there. I don't even know, with all the contact initiated, who that would have been on. Black, tough shot, got it to fall. Ryan Black with his first bucket of the night, and the Aggies lead by 4. Ibadapo riding on the back of David Heiserman like a piggyback ride. Heiserman spins on him, lays it up. Nope, Diaz with the rebound. 6th rebound of the night for Nestor. He leads the Aggies in that category. Actually, it's his 7th. Aggies by 4. Paulus shakes Henry, and then the Aggies keep throwing those passes to the wrong team in the middle of the paint. Henry. Outside, Marshall thinks about 3. Good hands there from, I didn't see who, but one of the Aggies has stripped it away. 16 on the clock. It's Matt Paulus with a kick save. It'll reset the clock. Purnell checks out. Dario Medina back in. Collar for Fisher. Fisher for Marshall. There's 3 Aggies on him. Fadeaway, good. Drake Marshall for 2. Drake heating up. He now has 8. And another sloppy pass by the Aggies. The Aggies have had lazy, sloppy bounce passes here for the better part of the half. Turned it over 4 times in the first 4 minutes. Not a turnover because it was knocked away out of bounds, but Bell has to do a better job taking care of the ball. Black gets it to Medina. Now back to Black. Aggies lead by 2, 32-30. Paulus for Black. And Heiserman. Derek Heiserman knocks it away. Jack Bova going to return, senior from New York. Matthew David Heiser, the freshman from Reading, back out. Landon Henry and Sean Collar head to the bench. Black for Medina. Now for Paulus. Paulus with the floater, way short, and a shot clock violation on Del Valle. Jackson Schaefer back out for Wilkes. Heiserman grabs a seat. So the Colonels with Marshall, Schaefer, Bova, Fisher, and David Heiser. And David Heiser has this one stripped away out of bounds off of his knee. Ibadapo sits down. Aggies with Trent Fisher. Since the Colonels aren't going with 2 centers, the Aggies will go a little smaller here. Both guys flailing and flopping around. Good no call by the official. Key outside for Black. Black, guarded by Fisher. Diaz, 9 on the shot clock. Medina now down to 6. Aggies get it to Key, outside Black for 3. No. And rebound last touched by Delaware Valley. That's back-to-back possessions for Del Valle, where they've just had to fire something up late in the clock, and the Aggies have not had a good-looking possession here in a while. They still lead for the moment, and traveling violation by Drake Marshall gives the Aggies the ball back. Third turnover for Marshall, 10th for the Colonels. As Diaz gets hammered. And that's going to be a clear path foul, yeah. Nope, not a clear path foul, just a hold. Matt Paulus grabs a hold and short circuits the fast break. Second foul on Paulus. 32-30, Colonels get it right back. And Nestor Diaz makes short work of that possession. Diaz for Medina. Oh my. Volleyball spikes that one out of the paint. Three on the way up and short, but Trent Fisher with the follow. Fisher has 17, has tied this game up with 32. Medina for Black. Diaz over for Medina. Medina for three, won't settle, and a rebound eventually controlled by Fisher. It's his sixth. David Heiser wanted to get it to Fisher, why not? He's the only guy on either team who's been effective on offense for a while. As ball and bodies and flailing all over the place. Jump ball, possession arrow in favor of the Colonels. Aggies have 1-3 in this half, and that's it. 3 from Matt Paulus, and that is all of the offense for the first 6.5 minutes of the half. And yet somehow we're still tied. Not anymore. Jackson Schaefer for 2. 34-32, and David Heiser gets called for the foul. First foul of the second half on the Colonels. First foul on Matthew. Aggies with 5 turnovers and 1 basket here in the second half so far. And, well, nearly a 6th. Purnell, open look at a 3, short-armed it, and another one and done for Del Val. David Heiser down the floor. Whoop. Nearly dribbled himself out of bounds. Jackson Schaefer posting up the much, much smaller Medina. Trent Fisher calls for the ball. Aggies with a very small lineup out there. And Fisher, oh, well, no, he'll miss. Follow, no, follow, no, follow, blocked, but fouled. I'm not sure you can play with a lineup here that's got 3 guys who are effectively point guards, 1 shooting guard and 2 shooting guards. You're not going to be surprised, but the Aggies are now getting out-rebounded by a considerable margin. And whoops. Fisher with an air ball on the first one. He's an 86% free throw shooter, so he can be forgiven. And he hits the second. Colonels with a 3-point lead. Aggies shooting 12 for 40 now. And for the most part, they haven't even had good looks at the basket, let alone making anything. Jones across the timeline. Medina for Jones. Jones for Medina. Dariel drives in, no good, but he's fouled, and Dariel will get free throws. Jackson Schaefer will pick up the foul. That is Schaefer's second. So Medina, good free throw shooter. Let's see if he can get the Aggies offense out of neutral. First one is good for Dariel, senior from Silver Spring, Maryland, a business administration major. Had a career-high 20 points against Wilkes last night. Dariel hits both here. 4 points tonight for Dariel. Aggies down by 1. David Heiser for 3. No. Edward Jones with the rebound. First board of the night for Edward. Diaz for Paulus. Pass to a cutting G. Tough shot. G gets it to fall, though. Good job by Gee to beat Fisher down the floor. Purnell with 10 points. Aggies back up by 1. Heiserman is returned. He hands it off for David Heiser. That's a mouthful. Derek Heiserman to Matthew David Heiser. Jumper up and good for Jackson Schaefer. And the Colonels back out in front. 4 points for Schaefer in this half. Jones for Diaz. Medina loses it, and then Paulus lets Medina retrieve. 10 on the shot clock. Diaz drives in, tough shot, got it. Nestor Diaz, not sure how he got that off around Jackson Schaefer, and the Aggies back up by 1. 5 points for Nestor. Colonels have brought Zachary Gula back out, number 4. Sean Collar. Pass to Gula. Gula for 3. No. And the ball tracked down by Paulus. And Paulus comes zipping out of the pile with the ball. Aggies trying to extend a 1-point lead as we approach the midway point of the second half. 38-37. And the next dead ball will get you the update of the women's game, which is headed to the fourth quarter. Medina for Diaz for Jones. 8 on the clock, tough shot, no, Jones fouled. And Edward Jones with the strong take will get free throws. Fourth quarter in Edwardsville, Delaware Valley on top in women's basketball, 39-37. Just starting the fourth period there. Emily Kutzkel, 24 points. 8 of 12 from the floor, 8 of 12 from the foul line, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, no blocks. Edward Jones with the first free throws. Good. Aggies so far tonight, 6 of 9 from the foul line. Made 6 of their last 7 here. And Jones knocks them both home. Edward has 4. Aggies by 3. As we hit the midway point here in the second half. Henry, ouch. I know they don't have the angle we do, but that was definitely a foul. Henry took a punch to the jaw there by Medina. Not on purpose, but it doesn't matter. That's a foul. Schaefer, Fisher, both out there. Wilkes with the height advantage. Collar, who's got 2 points, gives it up. This is Landon Henry, who's got 1 point, and the Colonels starting backcourt here, Henry and Collar, have combined for 3 points, 1 for 8. They have done a good job rebounding the ball, like everyone else on Wilkes. Medina Sets the offense in motion and nobody listens. So gives it over for Jones. Jones for Nestor. And the Aggies bring the ball up the floor looking for a two-possession lead for the first time in a while. They lead 40-37. Jones. Whoops. Iguodala does manage to save it. 14 on the shot clock. Nestor for Iguodala, who sat for a long time. Jones, 5, pass to Medina. Medina, no! Doesn't sit, ball kicks around, and oh, goodness. I don't know how he missed that. 40-37, Colonels with the ball, 9 minutes to play. And a hold on Jones as Zachary Gula splashes one down that won't count. And that's 1-1 for the Colonels now with 9 minutes to play. So free throws the rest of the way for Wilkes. In a low-scoring game, that's a nice advantage to have. Wilkes has only committed 3 fouls, so Aggies gonna have to wait a while to join him here. Drake Marshall back in. Sean Collar to the free throw line. And he hits the first. Mentioned before, the Colonels are a decent free throw shooting team. Actually, they're better than that, 73%. And this is the wrong guy to foul. He's a 90% free throw shooter. The accounting major from Hershey. And tinkles the twine on both of those. 40-39, Aggies up by 1. Paulus for Jones. Jones, tough shot, got it, count it, going to the line. Edward Jones with a strong take and a three-point play opportunity for the Aggies, who are back up by 3. Strong take as he just goes right through Drake Marshall. Now, Jones, a 50% free throw shooter. But not tonight. He's 3 for 3. 43-39, three-point play for Jones puts the Aggies back up by 4. Fisher saves it. Open look for Marshall. Skyscraper touching 3. What an arc on that one. Splashes it home, and the Aggies and Colonels exchange three-point plays. Delaware Valley by 1 again, 43-42. Boy, that had quite the arc on it for Marshall. Marshall with 11 now. And Sean Collar with the foul. Draws contact with Dariel Medina. 5th foul on the Colonels. Second foul on Collar. Drake Marshall has 3. Aggies, nobody with more than 2. Medina, Jones, and Black all have 2. Aggies continue to go with the smaller lineup, I think, as long as Derek Heiserman sits. Medina. Gives it off for Jones. Jones for Iguodala, 8 on the shot clock. Iguodala outside for Jones, who fumbles it, gets it, fires it up, awkward shot, no good. Had a little more time than he thought, but not a lot. Fisher. As Marshall takes the handoff. And Marshall thinks about a step back 3. Fisher, last touched by, foul by Iguodala, so last touch doesn't matter. Colonels down by 1, but they've got the right guy at the line. Fisher's has 18 points. That is the second foul on Iguodala. This is 1-1. No, well, doesn't matter. He made the first. I think that was 1-1, right? 8 fouls. I don't think he was in the act of shooting. Doesn't matter. He made it anyway. Second one coming here for Trent. We'll check. He's a freshman, so This is his only season. And as we mentioned last night, this season doesn't even count in terms of athletic eligibility. The NCAA has given all winter athletes a waiver, which means this is just basically bonus basketball for Mr. Fisher. Wilkes by 1 off of his free throws. Jones outside, Black for 3. Yes! Ryan Black for 3, and the Aggies back up by 2. 46-44. Trent calling for the ball again, but this time Jones gets there to knock it away, and bodies flailing everywhere, and a bad foul by Edward Jones. He fouls Landon Hendry like 75 feet and running the wrong direction from the rim. One and one for the Colonels. Well, Fisher's season high before tonight, 15 last night against Delaware Valley. So well, he's trending in the right direction. 9 points, 10 points, 14 points, 15 points, 20 points. By the end of the season, he'll be scoring 30 a night. Colonels making their free throws now, 8 of 11 and down by 1. Oh, Edward Jones has 4 fouls, okay. So the Colonels hit both, and we are tied at 46 with 7:03 to play, and as has been the case throughout these home and home series, the women's game continues to have almost exactly the same score. Aggies 45, Wilkes 44 there. 5:02 to play in that one. Wilkes now 17 of 44 from the floor. It's 39%. 3 of 16 from behind the arc. 9 of 12 from the foul line. Delaware Valley, 16 of 46 from the floor. It's 35%. 6 of 18 from the arc. 8 of 11 from the foul line. Colonels, not surprisingly, given their height advantage, outscoring the Aggies in the paint, 24-16. Second chance points, not as lopsided as I had expected. It's 7-5 for Wilkes. So tie game, 7 minutes to play here in this one. Paulus across the timeline, over for Ryan Black. Medina, good head fake. Outside Black, head fakes, Fisher doesn't buy. 12 on the clock and the Aggies will reset. Deflected, Black has it, has to get something off, does, misses, and the ball controlled by Wilkes as the Aggies have another possession that results in a last-ditch fling. David Heiser for 3. Awkward delivery, but it counts just the same. Matthew David Heiser with his first 3 of the night. We said he hit a bunch at the end of the game last night. And the Colonels are up by 3 for the first time in a while, 49-46. Pass down into the paint, another turnover by Delaware Valley. And the Colonels with a chance to take a 2-possession lead for the first time since early in the game. Landon Henry with the ball. Over for Drake Marshall. Trent Fisher calls for the ball. They get it outside for Henry instead. Collar. Outside, open look. Marshall for 3. No. And a rebound controlled by Ryan Black. And Ryan Black throws it to the stands. Looks of exasperation on the face of the Aggies. Shouldn't happen. 13th turnover a game for Del Val. Colonels another chance to extend the lead. And that's not going to happen either as Jordan Gomes steals the ball away and a foul called on the Aggies will send Wilkes to the foul line. Well, body language for Delaware Valley is uniformly awful right now. You've got guys with towels on their heads, not talking to each other. Free throw, no good. Still a very close game here, so 49-46. And make it 50-46. First time Wilkes has led by 4 since, I think it was 1915. Not the year, the score. And Nestor Diaz will call timeout. Scoreboard update. Happier score up in Edwardsville. Delaware Valley leads 49-44 in the women's game. Under 3 minutes to play there. Aggies with the ball in that one. Aggies this half, 6 of 16. And now up to 8 turnovers. Yeah, the Colonels had a 5-point lead. That was their largest of the game at 17-12. Diaz over for Paulus. Gomes for Paulus and another turnover. And another just mental mistake there as Paulus has it slip through his fingers. Five minutes to play. Colonels looking to extend this lead. Trent Fisher hands it off for Marshall, who's played well second half. Collar, Henry, Marshall. David Heiser, Fisher, and Fisher keeps. Drives in, shot off the mark, and Dario Medina with the rebound. Good defense from Thomas Ibadapo. Ibadapo for Jordan Gomes. Jordan had 9 points in the first game. He hasn't scored since. Ibadapo for Diaz. Someone's got to shoot it, guys. No. Well, Gomes doesn't score there, but he'll head to the foul line. It's a lot of passing around the rim for 3 guys standing 4 feet away from the basket. Foul free throw's coming here for Jordan. It's the first. Correct myself, he did have 3 points against Lebanon Valley. He hasn't scored since then. That was the 3rd game of the year. He had 9 in his first game. And he's stuck on 1 here as he splits the free throws. Aggies trail by 3. And that was a bad idea. How about them Aggies gonna get a win streak going on the women's side. They're up 7 with 74 seconds to play. Right here, the down 3 with 4 minutes to play. Paulus trying to draw a foul once again. A sloppy pass in the middle. Medina for 3. No. And Fisher with the rebound. The Aggies have Very few offensive rebounds here in this game. Well, more than I thought. They have 7, and the Colonels are going to call timeout. So the Aggies hanging around, but it has been a rough second half. I mentioned Delaware Valley hasn't had a 2-game win streak since February of 2019 on the men's side. On the women's side, I'm guessing actually it might even be down to the day exactly the same. Last time the Aggies had a winning streak on the women's side, February 3rd, almost down to the day, a week later, February 13th of 2019. Men have a week longer drought for 2 consecutive wins. Marshall, ball swatted away by Diaz. Fisher loses it off his foot. Aggies with a chance to get points in transition, and Edward Jones does just that. Pass down the floor, Jones, no, and I don't know who the foul is on. Okay, that's a tough call, because, I mean, Jones makes contact, but that's just totally up for grabs there. And Jones is fouled out. So Jones picks up his 5th foul on a tough call, because again, that's just going for the ball along with the offensive player. I don't think it would have been pass interference if we were playing another sport, put it that way. Jones fouls out 9 points, 3 of 4 from the floor, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 3 steals in 11 minutes. And free throws coming here for Collar, who we mentioned before is a 90% free throw shooter, and he hits the first. Wilkes now shooting 12 of 16 from the foul line, pretty much right at their season average, and the Colonels back up by 3. Paulus for Ibadapo. For Nestor Diaz. Paulus off the screen. Shot clock down to 10. Medina with the look. Nope. And Collar with the rebound, and the Aggies have gone ice cold from behind the arc. Down by 3, Colonels with a chance to take a 2-possession lead again. David Heiser for Collar as Fisher calls for the ball down low. Landon Henry hands off for Marshall. Fisher, Henry. 4 on the clock. Henry for Fisher, and Fisher gets grabbed and fouled. And as aggressive as you like Nestor to be, that's a bad foul there because Fisher is effectively going to shoot an off-balance, falling away 3-foot shot with his body facing the wrong way with Ibadapo on him. But Diaz fouls him, and none of that matters now. Seidenberg is saying that there was a shot clock violation. Final score in Wilkes-Barre. Congratulations to the Aggies. We have a 2-game win streak in women's basketball, 57-47 final. Emily Kutskill, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, no blocks. That is a player of the week if I've ever seen one. As Fisher calmly hits the first. And the second. 5-point lead for the Colonels, matching their largest of the game, and the Aggies will call time out. This has just been a painful second half here for Del Val. Still has a chance to salvage this one, but going to have to play substantially better over the final 2:19 to do so. Our next broadcast will be next Thursday night. Men first on Thursday, and then women on Friday. 7 o'clock both starts. FDU Florham in what will be the last scheduled game. As we explained in the pregame, the conference quote-unquote postseason will take the number 1 versus number 2 teams in the Freedom and the Commonwealth, and you'll get a Freedom Conference champion out of that, and it looks like it will be DeSales versus Lycoming on this side, and who the heck knows on the Commonwealth side, because as usual you have 5 teams tied with each other for the most part. And then 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5, etc. until you run out of teams. As we also mentioned, Wilkes, this was their last scheduled game, but they have since added a road game at Alvernia, a non-conference game. And again, who knows for Del Val, maybe they pick up one along the way too. You've got Alvernia, who started the season late, and Stevens, who started the season late, and so those teams will be available if schools want to try and extend their season. No NCAA tournament, so that's not a factor this year. Not on the Division III side, at least. 54-49, Paulus outside, Medina for 3, blocked, and Drake Marshall is all alone, but they didn't see him. And that's the difference between the Aggies tonight and last night. Last night, Medina was 4 for 5 from behind the arc. Henry gets it to Fisher, wide open, David Heiser for 2. 7-point lead for the Colonels, largest of the game, matching the largest for either team. And the Aggies continue to call timeouts here, but they've got one left after this one. Aggies had 29 points at the end of the first half. Del Val had 29 points and 5 turnovers. They now have 14 turnovers. Aggies down by 7. Got to get some offense here quickly. Paulus with the ball. Over for Medina. Medina nearly fumbles it away. Key drives, shot, got it, count it, going to the line. Purnell Gee draws the contact on the shorter David Heiser. And a chance to chop this 7-point deficit almost in half. Now that was just what they needed. A dozen points now for Purnell. He's 2 for 4 from the foul line. And that does not help. Aggies still trail by 5. 1:24 to play. Henry picks up his dribble. Marshall calmly waits. Aggies don't have to foul, though they've been doing a lot of that anyway. Heidenberg trying to create a trap, and David Heiser calls timeout with 11 seconds on the shot clock. Aggies hit 5 threes in the first half. 1 for 10 this half. Wilkes, well, they're in position to win this game. That streak of, or that trend of when they hit threes, they win. That's not going to happen. They're 4 of 18 tonight. So the teams are a combined 10 for 40. Colonels will have Collar, Henry, Marshall, David Heiser, and Fisher, the 5 on the floor. Ryan Black back out for Del Val. 10 on the clock. Marshall with the ball. And an offensive foul on Wilkes. And that's 1 and 1 for Del Val. No, they would just inbound the ball. It's an offensive foul, so you don't get shots, you just get the possession. If it's a loose ball foul and no one has the ball, then you get shots. 5-point deficit, but Del Val gets the stop they needed. Jackson Schaefer in, Trent Fisher out. And the Aggies once again need points, down by 5. Paulus off the Black screen. Over for Medina. Black drives. Tough shot, no good. Lots of contact. Purnell comes away with the ball and lays it in for 2. Colonels have to pick it up here. 56-53. Collar. Oh, that's off of Wilkes' foot. Oh, that was off of number 11's foot, it looked like. Colonels will try and inbound it again. Collar gets it to Marshall. Marshall to Collar. Still got to get across the timeline here. Collar, and that's a travel. Oh, Sean Collar with a traveling violation gives the ball back to Del Val with 39 seconds, and the Aggies down 3. Now, you don't need a 3 here. As Jackson Schaefer comes out and Trent Fisher comes in. Paulus, and a timeout taken by Del Val, I would guess, yes. That is the Aggies' final timeout. And the Aggies down 3 with 36.3 seconds to play. Well, for Del Val, top 3-point shooters on the team. Paulus shoots 32%. Dario Medina shoots 57. The disadvantage for Dariel is he's shorter, so he needs a little more space to get it off. Ryan Black, 36%. And that's pretty much it. Nestor Diaz, 4 of 8 in limited opportunities. And Purnell shooting a little under 25%. Hey, I want to take this moment to thank the rest of our broadcast crew here. Arabella Verducci on camera, Brian, our executive producer Chris Elliott. Saw the men's lacrosse team warming up and practicing on the field the last couple of nights. They're getting ready to start their season. Women's lacrosse, baseball and softball all get underway shortly here, despite the fact that it certainly doesn't feel like the spring outside, at least not today. 56-53, Aggies down 3 with the ball, 36 seconds to play. Diaz for Paulus for 3. Oh, a lot of contact, and a lot of contact there too. Now the ref is saying we're not giving you that because you kicked out the leg Reggie Miller style. I thought the contact was on the arm though, to be honest, so. Nevertheless, 2 free throws for Wilkes. Yes? Yes. Yes. Trent Fisher for 2 free throws. Well, they got the shot they wanted. Just did not fall, and Marshall rattles in the first free throw. Back to a 2-possession lead for the Colonels, 28 seconds to play. Second one coming here for Marshall, who's played very well this second half. He's the team's leading scorer on the season, and he's looked much more like it here in the second half. He had 2 points in the first half did Marshall. He's now up to 13. The season average is 14. Half a minute to play. Aggies out of timeouts, down by 5. Paulus, last touch by Landon Henry, out of bounds. Colonel's trying to get the 500 after a season that started with a 44-point loss to DeSales in the season opener. What we've learned since then is DeSales will beat everyone by large amounts. Paulus for 3, that is way short, and the Colonels with the ball. He wraps up on Collar, and Collar will put a wrap on this one. The 90% free throw shooter heads to the free throw line. So the Aggies and the Colonels will split their season series, each one winning on the other one's floor, and say goodbye to each other until sometime in the winter of 2022. One of 2 for Collar with a rare miss. His team's up 6 though. Medina pulls up, line drive 3 that hits nothing. And that is the way this one comes to a close. Dario Medina shaken up and grabbing at his left ankle. And the trainer comes out to take a look at Dario, who pulled up lame after attempting that 3-point shot. And he is in a lot of pain. Well, we'll wrap this one up. Wilkes University with the victory. The Colonels improved to 4-4. They split the season series with the Aggies. Delaware Valley drops to 2-5. Aggies will have 2 more games in conference coming up next week when they host FDU Florham and then head up to Madison, New Jersey on Friday night. Player of the game, an easy one here. Trent Fisher, 23 points, 8 of 12 from the floor, 6 of 8 from the foul line to go with 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block in 29 minutes of action as Dario Medina gets some help to his feet. For the Aggies, well, kind of a rough night all the way around. Purnell finishes with 14 points on 5 of 12 shooting. Paulus had 11 points, but they all came basically in a 5-minute span when he hit a handful of threes. Drake Marshall, good night for him, or good second half for him at least. He finishes with 13 points. Again, your final numbers overall, Wilkes 59, Delaware Valley 53. That'll do it for us tonight. Our next broadcast, next Thursday night, Aggies men's basketball. It'll be the Aggies and FDU Florham. Until then, have a good weekend, everyone.